yeah, I think everyone needs multiple streams of income. And so it's super important. I can't imagine not having that, because the security you get, the feeling you get of confidence, of like financial confidence when you have that. One could take a dive 1 month or have a rough month, and yet you're still good. You're still able to make good decisions in life, because it's really tough. I've been there many times where you have decisions in life, financially or business or family, and if you're stressed about financials, you're not really making the best decisions typically. It's a very stressful point of view to come from. So really important to get your financial side of your life in check, so that you can live a great life.
You have to begin by being rich and wealthy in your mind before you become rich and wealthy in life. The real purpose of financial wealth is for you to be able to finance your personal mission for your life. It's your freedom money.
We're here with Caesar, and Caesar, we just spent the last 25 minutes or so talking about opportunities within your business. And I'd love for you to kind of just share with our friends that experience.
Well, it is amazing that you guys reach out to just talk about my business and make me realize what I'm probably missing and what should just keep doing or keep growing and expect on my business and in terms of growing in the future. I feel like for new agents, it is important to have these conversations so your mindset is in place and you get motivated every day to just keep going.
Awesome. Thank you, Caesar.
That was well said.
Mentorship and coaching is so important because if you think about it, our entire lives, we have had coaches, teachers, people who help us grow, and it should be absolutely no different with business.
You can almost overdo it at KW. So we have our initial coaching program that you join as a new agent, which is productivity coaching. We also have growth coaching, advanced coaching, and then Keller Williams offers MAPS coaching, international training. So, you could be in training and in class every day of the week if you really wanted to.
And whether their goal is 100 transactions a year or they're more focused on lifestyle and fueling whatever it is that they're trying to do with their life, we have coaching that is tailored to whatever they need to grow their business.
So how does an agent make their business more profitable? Well, I think the first thing you need to do is you need to have a plan.
Understanding the fact that we have certain revenue goals, but we can't have those goals and reach those goals if we don't understand what our expenses are, and creating that net income.
Have a plan, keep an eye on the numbers, and then just keep redirecting every time you think you're off course, or just keep checking in.
Because at the end of the day, I can show you many agents that do hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of transactions every year, but their expenses equate the amount of money that they bring in. We want to change that conversation. We want to change the conversation to it's what you take home at the end of the day. That's what matters to us.
I sit back and reflect on my time with Keller Williams Realty Centers. I can see how much I've already continued to grow, and the people around me and the people that I've met here and the journey and trajectory that they're on, that I'm building a life that I've never imagined for myself.
Over the last 10 years of being in real estate, I can honestly say that these last 2 years have put me in a place where I can create my life for myself and my family that I didn't even know was possible.
Well, here we are, my friends, and apparently it's a few people's birthday, and at least Jenna's birthday. I'm seeing that in the notes here on the side, on the comments. Happy birthday, Jenna. Welcome to our team meeting, everybody. This is our second team meeting in March. This is the real March team meeting, by the way, and we got lots to go through. Dylan, Christine, Colin, how's everybody doing today? Dylan, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's good to see you. Watching that intro, I'm like, I'm so glad I am a part of our brokerage. That was amazing, Gary. Thanks for putting that together.
Beautiful, beautiful. Christine, it's a big day.
Big day.
Big day. And we're going to get into that in just a few moments here. Colin, we've got lots to go through. So we're going to say goodbye to Dylan and Christine for the moment. And as you've been doing on the comments here, let us know where you're watching from. Are you at home? Are you in the office? Are you on the road? And it's fun to interact with our agents, Colin.
Absolutely. Like you said, it's another exciting team meeting. We have a jam-packed meeting. We're looking at bringing some real value. So I'm excited for today's team meeting.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, the value is important, and let me share my screen here again. And this is stuff that we love doing, and it bringing value to our brokers, to our agents, and here's what we're going to be covering today. We have an amazing guest speaker in James Shaw. And I see Wayne on the screen here, and Wayne and many others have had James and the privilege of having James as their bold coach over the years. James is now the KWRI Director of Education and Learning. And if you know James, that is right up his alley. He's passionate for KW and for the agents and growing their business, but growing their personal lives as well. So we're excited to have James on with us in just a few moments. And we got a lever series with our good friend Stevie Susi. What else are we talking about today? Ignite and Bold launch. Dylan is going to be sharing with us why it's important not only to be into Bold, but also if you are a newer agent with us, into our Ignite program, which is launching, I believe it's next week. And of course, we have our back by popular demand, our KWRC roundtable, Colin, and we're going to be talking about perhaps a little bit of that market shift that some of you might be feeling. And we've got three amazing realtors to kind of just, talk about what they're seeing in the market. And more importantly, how are they educating their clients, Colin?
Absolutely.
Of course, mortgage update with Charity. So we've had some news over the last couple of days with interest rates and fixed rates. We're going to be talking about that with Charity as always. Our top producer awards and highlighting some of our outstanding achievements over the last month. And Broker Bits. And yes, that is a new name there on Broker Bits. And Andrew is going to be stepping up to the plate and giving us some valuable information there. And of course, our market intel and how are we doing as a brokerage within the industry and how it affects your business as well. So let's start off with this, Colin, with our mission moment, something that we always like to do. And I'm gonna do a shout out, if you will, to our good friend Nicole Parker. And if you don't know who Nicole is, she came on board a couple of months ago at our front desk, and she has come in as a in a sense, a leadership role because she has amazing experience, past experience, and a huge shout out to her as she's kind of, came in and learned the KW culture a little bit and how we do things. But more importantly, she brings a skill set, Colin, that I'm really excited for. And I know a few of our agents over the last couple of weeks kind of needed her support and her skill set. And let me tell you what that is. She has that experience, that firsthand experience of writing offers and putting together paperwork for clients. And she stepped up for a couple of our agents that absolutely had to have that guidance. And I can tell you the feedback from the agents that she's helped the last couple of weeks, Colin, is I wouldn't have been able to get that deal done, presented, and more importantly, accepted. So, Nicole, we thank you for your service. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. And I know that the plan and the vision is to share that with our other call coordinators and to step up that service, which kind of leads me into what's coming, Colin. So why don't you kind of take over just a little drop, if you will, of what's coming?
Absolutely. And this is something as a leadership team we're extremely excited about. We're going to launch this throughout the entire brokerage very soon. We're still beta testing it. And Nicole's role in the brokerage is basically now to help our agents write offers. You might be in a jam, you might be on your way to a showing, or you're stuck in your car somewhere. And Nicole, you just call the front desk between 9 and 5, and Nicole will help you write that offer. There's some tests that we've been going through. We've been working diligently in the background over the last 2 months. Christine Tonis has been played a pivotal role in this as well. But this is something that we're still beta testing. So a few agents, they experience it over the last 3 weeks to, let's say, a month. We're going to be rolling it out to the next phase in our brokerage. So this might be version 2. And then the goal is now to get it out to everyone in the brokerage. So stay tuned. That is something that is coming very soon.
Very soon. And I'm excited for that. And I know a lot of agents would be excited for that too. Yeah. So again, to Nicole, thank you for bringing that skill set of yours to our brokerage and raising the bar of everyone around you. Amazing stuff, Nicole. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. So over the last month, we've had a handful of people join us. So a huge welcome to Wael, Sarah, Karima, Nicole, and Zach. Thank you for choosing to align yourselves with KWRC. And we are tremendously excited to watch you grow your business. And we're here to support you in any which way. So if you're one of our agents that is not on this screen, reach out to these people, say hello, drop a comment here on the YouTube link and make them feel welcomed. Very, very good. So Colin, this is pretty cool. I don't know if you've seen this slide. So let's just do a huge shout out to the Terry Hastings team out of Wyerton area. This is absolutely fantastic. Top 11 in Canada, therefore units closed, or sorry, GCI, and top 5 for units closed. So huge congratulations to the Terry Hastings team that's the month of February. And huge shout out goes to your entire team. Everyone that's involved there. Well done, Terry. Congratulations to you and your team.
And that's great leadership on Terry's part. I mean, she has a sales team that constantly, going out there and raising the level of service. But she also has the support team in the background, that helps make all of this possible. And none of this would be possible without that entire team. So great leadership on Terry and Adam's part. You guys are doing an amazing job out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. One more slide before we invite James on the call with us. And it's kind of fitting in a sense, because when I think of James, I think of Bold as well, among many other things. Colin, talk to us a little bit about Bold. And I know in a few moments, we'll get deeper into that with Dylan and so forth. But I know you've taken Bold, not once, not twice, not 5 times, but many more times. Talk to us why. And this launches next tomorrow, in fact.
Yes, Bold is something that I've taken. I've been in the business now 7 years, and I've taken Bold 11 times, and I regret not taking it more. Bold has ultimately changed my career. It's changed my business. It's changed my life. So anyone who's looking to take their business to the next level, I say you definitely want to sign up for Bold. This is something that should be on your growth plan every year, even multiple times per year. Dylan, over to you.
Well, good segue, but I don't have Dylan queued up just yet. Well, that's all right. We'll bring him on in just a minute here. I'm just putting the link there in the comments so that you should have that as we move into inviting James on the screen with us. And yeah, Bold is an awesome opportunity to not to just dive into your business, but to create the habit that your business deserves and that you and your family deserve, for sure. Yeah. I'm going to invite James onto the screen with us, and Colin, I'm going to hand it over to you to introduce James. James from
Can I say something first, though? So real quick, because you're talking about Bold, which everyone should be taking. But I heard this. You tell me if this is right. I was in Gary's mastermind on Friday, and it was mentioned on Gary's mastermind on Friday that in 1 week in Toronto, showings went from 40,000 showings to 16,000 showings. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
So when something like that happens, and you guys have been this like ramp up since Earth started in Canada. I mean, you have not seen any, really, it's just every year homes get more expensive in Canada, and it's happened. There hasn't been, like when the US went through its downtime, like you did not experience that. It was really fascinating to watch. And really because in Canada, we make sure people can actually pay their mortgage, where in the United States, we're like, hey, want to buy a house? So yeah, you like check things and make sure they've got it. And there's all this different stuff, and it makes a lot. I always say you do everything better. Your the way to buy homes is better. Your national anthem is better. Everything is better in Canada. So but the thing about it was when I saw you went from 40,000 showings in 1 week to 16,000 showings, that's like a red alert to me. Now it could have just been a blip, right? Who knows? When you had weather or something like that impacted it, I don't know. So then you go and you look and you say, okay, so Bold is coming to Canada. If the opportunity in the market is decreasing, then you need to increase what you're doing, and because the state of the market is irrelevant to the individual agent, right? So if you're Wayne, that's my buddy in your market center, and Wayne can hit his goal every year because there's always going to be enough business for Wayne, right? But there isn't going to be enough business for everybody. So Wayne needs to do the right things to go out and get his. And so Bold is coming. It probably has. Is it in person in Canada?
In person, correct.
You haven't had an in-person Canada Bold in 2 years, right?
2 years, correct.
Yeah, I mean it's been over 2 years. So I would say get back in the room. Get back in the room safely. And really go all in. Anyway, I just had to say that since you had Bold coming. And I'm sorry, Colin, I'll let you introduce me.
James, I thank you for that. And it's funny because going down to family reunion, one of my goals was to connect with James at family reunion and said, I need you in our team meeting. So one of the days as Gary's getting on stage, I saw him in the distance and I ran over. I was like, we need you in our team meeting. And he's like, yes, I will gladly do it. And
anytime.
James is someone I've, seen so many times.
Did you talk to me or my cutout?
I spoke to you directly, and I put up your cutout, which is just beautiful. But most importantly, James is not just a great leader in Keller Williams. Obviously, you have the title of VP of Learning. Most importantly, he's a father, he's a husband, he's a Bold coach, and he has a beautiful podcast. If you're into podcasts, Positively That podcast. It's a beautiful podcast. I've listened to it many times. I'm going to stop talking so that you can come on screen because we're all here to hear you.
You're really cool. I like you. Thank you for mentioning the podcast. In the pandemic, I've struggled to get episodes out, but I have a goal of getting more out really soon. So thank you. And I've had many Canadians on the podcast. So it's Positively Dad. And I'm honored that you'd be on, or that you had mentioned it. And thank you for having me on. My understanding, and Colin, I invite you back in the conversation. Like I don't have to be full screen. We can talk, and I would love to chat with you a little bit about kind of what we're thinking here. But my understanding is that you guys wanted to talk mindset here. That was the reason why you want me to have it. Let me just ask you, Colin, before I kind of jump into stuff from Shift. Why do you think that mindset is so important for your group right now?
Well, understanding, I think protecting our mindset is the most important part of our journey, whether it's being a real estate agent, being a parent, or an individual. So I think protecting that mindset. And now as we start to experience that shift, our helmet is on.
Yeah.
Right. So we're attacking it and experience it with the right mindset. And I think everything starts with mindset.
Yeah, it does. I know in Canada, it's been a little bit different as far as COVID protocols and restrictions than maybe what we've experienced in parts of the U.S. I live in Florida, so we've actually never even had COVID down here. But so it's just been a free-for-all the whole time. Are you guys gathering together again in offices? Is that stuff starting to happen again, Colin?
Yes. So they've opened up, they've removed all restrictions, no masks, just like Florida right now.
Yeah. Okay, good. So I'm not saying good in judgment and based on what's happening, but good because it takes our conversation a certain way. I think the one thing we've learned during the pandemic is that our community matters and who we hang out with matters. And while we were forced to be disconnected, if you rewind in your mind 2 years ago, I was not only was I you said a dad and a husband, and I was coaching Bold at the time, but I was also a second grade teacher, and my wife was a second grade teacher. And there were days, Colin, I remember when our governor said, everybody moves up, like we're just considering the grade has been completed, and we're not gonna worry about your grades, and everyone's moving on to the next grade. I was like, this is awesome. So we're going to log into the platform, and all you had to do, you didn't even have to turn in homework. You just had to say whether or not you did it. And so I'd click complete, and look at Naomi and say, go play and have fun, right? I mean, that's kind of where we were. But one thing I did was started the Pivot Shift Ahead community, Colin. And I know you have people, Wayne's in that, and others from your market center in that community. And what I decided to do was let's get together every morning at 8 o'clock Eastern time, and and get our mindset right, because there was a lot of uncertainty and a lot of stuff happening. And there was a thing that I want to read it to you, and it says this. It says, this is on Shift, by the way. Whenever I read, Colin, I'm going from the Shift book.
Beautiful.
So if you go on the bottom, page 23, and Colin, is it okay if I like talk with you and we
Yes,
kind of do this
right
together?
ahead.
Okay, cool. It says on the bottom, page 23, it says, I believe that your life will either be about your problems or your opportunities. You'll be running away from something or running towards something. It's your call. To survive a shift, you must first make the mental shift to run toward what you most want, and avoid the temptation of running away from what you most fear. Okay, so let me ask you some questions, Colin. When you hear that little piece, what stands out to you? What's your first reaction?
Run towards what I most want.
Okay, so if we want to run toward what we most want, what do we need to know?
First off, which direction to run in.
Well, okay, before that, hold on. So you're right, but we first have to know what we most want.
Correct.
Okay, we can't run towards something unless we know what we're running to, and this is a really important thing. Now, I'm in the Tampa Bay area.
Yes.
I live in a little town called Safety Harbor, Florida, but I'm going to tell you right now, there are people in your office that definitely know our neighboring town, Dunedin, right? You love Dunedin in Toronto because the Blue Jays do their spring training there.
Yes.
And I am so scared, just as a sidebar, about how good the Blue Jays are going to be this year. For this Rays fan, I'm not as concerned about the Yankees or the Red Sox, but man, those Blue Jays are loaded, so be ready. And Sky Dome will be packed, or whatever you call it. It's going to be amazing. But we have this little town called Dunedin, and many of you are probably familiar with Dunedin because there's a lot of Canadians there, and the Blue Jays are there. Okay, so let's just say that when spring training ends, I want to, instead of driving 5 minutes to see the Blue Jays play the Rays, I want to come up to, what do you call it, Rogers Center now? Is that what it's called? I want to come up to the Sky Dome, whatever it's called.
Let's go with Rogers. Yeah.
And I want to watch the Blue Jays play the Rays in Toronto. And that's one thing I want to do. I think it'd be so cool to go see a game there. And so I want to come up there. So what I need to do is, I guess I would get on I-75. That's how I would start. And I'd take I-75 like way north until I have to change and whatever. But I could drive. Could I not drive?
Absolutely.
From Tampa Bay to Toronto? Would that be possible?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I need to know what I want is to get to Toronto. Then you said the next thing, I have to then move that direction. Well, here's the thing, though, that's really important. I could call you, Colin, and in fact, I know Wayne would love this. I would love to go sit and watch the Rays and Jays with my boy Wayne, and sit there and watch the game together. It would be so much fun, but not up top. We need good seats, okay, really good seats. And so I call Wayne, and I'm like, hey, man, I'm coming up. I'm going to see the Rays and the Blue Jays. It's going to be awesome. I packed my bag. I have my passport. It's after April 1st, so I don't need a negative test because I'm vaccinated. So I got my Vax card, and I filled out everything on the Canada app. I've logged in, put all my stuff on there. I went and got my special insurance card that I need to be able to drive in Canada. Like, I'm ready to go. I know I'm coming in July, so I got my winter coat and my hat and my mittens because it's still going to be cold in Toronto. Yes. And I got my Rays shirt and my glove to catch a ball, so that if Vlad hits a home run, I can throw it back. I mean, I'm ready to go, right? I'm ready. And so, Wayne, here I am. I'm getting on I-75 now. I'm ready. And I'm going to go south on I-75 so I can come see you in Toronto from Tampa. I'm so excited. Driving south on I-75. Colin, am I going to get there?
Do you know where you're going?
Listen, I just told you I'm going to go south on I-75 from Tampa. Am I going to get there?
No, you're not getting there.
Well, why not?
Opposite direction.
See, here's the thing, though. Even though I told Wayne I was coming, and I got my passport, and I got my Vax card, and I have my driving insurance card, and I filled out everything on the app 72 hours before, like I'm supposed to, and I got my Rays shirt and my glove, I'm still going the wrong direction, even though I intend to get to Toronto. And this is a big thing. We have to remember this one thing. It is our direction, not our intention, that determines our destination. Write that down, everybody. Direction, not intention, determines your destination. Look, I can intend to get in Toronto all day long, but if I get on I-75 and drive south, I'm going to end up in Naples. And Naples is great, but I cannot see the Rays and the Blue Jays play in Naples. And this is a thing we all the time see. Sometimes, Colin, we know where we want to go. He's saying you have to. Okay, you'll either be running away from something or running towards something. It's your call. To survive a shift, you must first make the mental shift to run toward what you most want. So first, you figure out what you most want. Well, I think most of you know that. You've figured out what you most want, but many people are still running away from what they most fear instead of running toward what they most want. They say things like, Colin, this is going to be my best year, man. This is the year I'm going to get after it. This is the year I'm going to build my team. This is the year I'm going to get to that unit goal that I've been saying I'm going to get to for years. This is the year I'm going to call my database and reach out to my database every day. And then they get up in the morning and they don't do any of the things that head them in that direction. If you don't learn anything from our time together, we got to remember that it is our direction, not our intention, that determines our destination. So, Colin, let's talk about this. What do you talk to your people about? Do you tell them you got to call your database?
Oh, well, that's standard.
Right? Okay. Are you allowed to call people in Toronto and Canada? You're allowed to call, does your phone make outbound phone calls in Canada, or does it only take incoming ones?
It makes outbounds as well.
Okay. So do you ever hear from people that say, I need to talk to my database more?
No, that's rare.
Yeah, I think they need to talk. Here's the thing. We've got to do care calls to our database. Colin, the care call is the number one thing. And Gary said on Friday, were you in Gary's masterminds on Friday, Colin?
No, I was not. No, I was not.
Okay, no worries. You don't have to. We're not taking attendance, but so it's fine. Gary said something I haven't heard in a long time, and that was we have to triple down on our lead gen right now. And what I heard is triple down on care calls. And here's why. It's been a tough 2 years.
Yes.
And even in Canada, I know I would talk from Wayne, or I'd talk to my friend Irene. I don't know if Irene's in your office or not, but I'd talk to Irene and my friend Barb, who's in London, and all these people that are my friends in Canada. You guys went through a lot more, a lot longer. I remember that with last year, for the season, the basketball season last year, the Raptors played here.
Yes.
Right. They didn't even get to play their home games in Toronto. I went and saw it. I'm a Pacers fan. I'm from Indianapolis originally. So I got to go see the Pacers play the Toronto Raptors. And all those games were here.
Yes.
The Blue Jays they played like their first 2 months of the season, their regular season in Dunedin, before they went to Buffalo, before they were finally able to, like, you guys had things closed for longer. You had mandates that lasted longer. You had things, and I'm not placing judgment on any of that. But I just know that all of that came with something, right? I mean, there's consequences either way. But it's been a tough 2 years. I don't know, were schools open? Were they in-person school last year, Colin?
Yeah, there was a mixture.
Back and forth and all sorts of stuff.
Now we said triple down on our care calls.
Right, and this is why, because it's been a challenging time. Go ahead.
So, and you mentioned these care calls, because now most agents will come back to, well, what do I say?
Well, that's so easy. It's a care call. Just care about people. And here's why I'm bringing this up. No, I'm serious, and I don't want to bring down the call, but I just learned yesterday of a friend of mine, somebody I know and love and care about, who's no longer with us because it was a tough 2 years.
Yeah.
And you know what? Every time I saw him, though, he was smiling.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I talked to him, he was happy. But I didn't ask the other questions. I didn't reach out and say, "Hey, man, how you doing?" And it's not my response. He made his own decisions, right? He made his own decisions. But I'm sad. I'm heartbroken to hear about this. And this has become a challenge. So here's what I'm saying about that. You have a responsibility as a real estate agent to be a connector in the community. And one of your jobs is to call and reach out and see how people are doing. And Colin, it's really easy. There's 3 C's of a care call. 3 C's of a care call. The first C is care. And the way you show you care is you reach out. You reach out and call, and you ask how they're doing. Hey, Colin, it's James over at Keller Williams. I was just thinking about you, and I just want to reach out and see how are you doing. And you're going to give me an answer. All right. So that's the first C. How are you doing? Or care. The second C is compassion. So we have compassion for whatever is going on in their world, and they might tell you something. Hey, thank you. I'm doing all right, but things have been tough, whatever, job-wise or whatever, right? So we've been stressed out. Compassion for whatever their situation is. And then the third C is common sense. Common sense is going to tell you whether or not you bring up real estate. Now, chances are, Colin, here's what I would do. is I'd call, how are you doing? How are things?
Yes.
You know, kind of a forward conversation like we teach in Bold. How's the family doing if they're, you know, in a family related? And then I'd ask, how's work? How's what's going on at work? Because I imagine some people are still working from home. Some might be starting to get back in, you know, all the stress of that. But something magical happens, Colin, when we ask people about what's going on at work and how work is going. Guess what they do? They ask you, well, wait a minute, what's going on in the real estate market? What's happening with that? And now common sense says I can talk about real estate. And I don't really care what you talk about there, you know, how you talk about it. I think right now what I would do is an equity analysis type conversation, which is oh my gosh, you know, the real estate market is really amazing right now. And I don't know if it's similar up there as it is down here, but right now we have historically low active inventory, right? We have way more buyers than we have sellers. Do you have the same thing up there?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think I would say, you know, right now we've got way more people looking for homes than we have active homes for sale. I would not say we have low inventory because that's not true, but we have low active inventory. It comes on and goes off very quickly. So I'd say we've got more buyers than we have active listings right now. You know, I'm wondering, would you be curious about how much equity you have in your place? Now, what does everyone say to that, Colin, if they're at home? Yes.
Yes.
So then you go, okay, let's jump on Zoom for 5 minutes or whatever, and we do a 5-minute Zoom, and you do a CMA, or you probably call it something fancier, and you add a letter in Canada.
CMA.
You definitely add a letter in Canada, but you know, you got to do a CMA or something like that, and jump on a Zoom with them for 10 minutes and say, all right, so you purchased your house for X, and now it's worth this, and you know, depending on what your payoff is on your mortgage, then yeah, you've got this much equity. What would you do with that if you had access to it?
Absolutely.
And, you know, maybe somebody, you know, uses it to remodel their kitchen, or they borrow against it to buy an investment property, or they say, oh my gosh, I had no idea I had $200,000 in equity in my house. We've always wanted to live in this part of Toronto, and now we can go do that. But they didn't know. So that's the kind of conversation that I would be having right now. And the mindset, though, is one of this. We call our people because we care about them. But Colin, let me ask you, do you think that we like love the people in our database? I love the people in mine because I look at them and go, they pay every bill in my house.
Of course.
When you know, when I was a Bold coach and I'd do a Bold, I was paid based on the number of people in the room. So I loved all those people because I couldn't pay my mortgage without them. I couldn't pay for my health insurance without them. I couldn't pay for my daughter's school without them. I couldn't put food on my table without them. Like I had, so my response, and same for real estate agents. The people that buy and sell with you pay your salary. So you love them, right? Otherwise, you can't have a long-term success in the business. So if you love somebody, well, what do? You tell them. I remember one day I was driving Naomi to school. That's my 10-year-old. And I don't know, she was like 7. And I was driving her to school and I dropped her off and I said, Naomi, I just want you to know. And she goes, I know, you love me. And I said, I do. And she goes, well, you tell me that every day. And I say, and I'm going to keep telling you every day because someday, this is really morbid to tell a 7-year-old, but I said, someday I'm not going to be around to tell you and you're going to wish I was. So I'm going to tell you every day. If you love someone, you tell them every day. So Colin, let me ask you, what in your opinion is the opposite of love? And I think, can they type in the chat, right? They can type in the chat.
Yes, they can type in.
Let me change my screen so I can see over here. So what is the opposite? Let me go to the comment side. What is the opposite of love? Somebody put it in the chat. What do you think? Colin, what do you think is the opposite of love?
Well, it would be hate.
That's what most people say. But it's not true. Because see, love, Colin, would you agree that love carries a lot of energy and emotion behind it?
Yes.
Okay. Does hate also carry a lot of energy and emotion behind it?
Of course.
Okay, so the energy and emotion are the same. The opposite of love, I would argue, is apathy. And I see some people put nothing or not caring. Yeah. I would say the opposite of love is apathy. Because see, if you have hate, that carries emotion and stuff with it. If you have apathy, it's like, I don't even care about you. Like, I don't even care enough about you to think about you or tell you that I even think about you.
Interesting.
If we do not talk to our database on a regular basis and reach out and tell them, I care about you, then what is the only other message we're sending them?
Of course.
I don't care about you. That's what we're telling them. And I don't think they want that from us. So in a time that's been challenging, we have to reach out and check in on our people. And when we do that, then we're running toward what we want.
Yes.
Because now we can help the people we love and care about. They help create some business opportunity for us, and that allows us to fulfill our dream and our mission in life. And I just think it's really important that we do that. Okay, so I don't know how much more time I have, but I've got lots of other thoughts. Do we need to keep going, or do I have to stop? I get very excitable.
I know you're very excited. I think we have like 3 more minutes there.
Okay, well then just give me this last couple of things that I want you to think about here. And it's from page 25 of the Shift book. And page 25 of the Shift book says this: know that growth comes from clarity, priorities, and focused action. The first 2 is how you think. So clarity and priorities is how you think. The last is what you do, which is focused action. To make a strong mental shift, be clear about your situation and what you want. Write down and prioritize the necessary steps that you must take to achieve your goal. And now you're focused on what you want and you know what you need to do. So I just want you to remember, as you think about your goals for this year, know that growth comes from, first, you need clarity. What's the goal? What's the dream? What is it that I want to achieve this year? Then you got to figure out your priorities. What are the key things that are going to help me get there? And then you must take focused action. It is no different. If you have clarity and priorities, but you don't take focused action, it is no different than me getting on I-75 and driving south to get to Toronto. It's never going to happen, right? It's direction, not intention, that determines your destination. That's what I got for you, Colin. Was this helpful?
And motivation doesn't help in that situation, because if you're going in the wrong direction, motivation doesn't help. You just keep going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I mean, I think people look. I'm a big believer that we can get that we can provide motivation. That's what I try to do every morning on the 8 o'clock Eastern call that I invite all of you to. It's pivotshiftcall.com, and we do it every Monday through Friday. And I invite you to jump on, and you can watch the recording in the Pivot Shift Ahead Facebook group. But I think that, yeah, well, sometimes we probably do need a little bit of motivation, but at some point, you have to make the decision to take action. Like I cannot, and Colin, you cannot provide desire and motivation to any person. That has to come from you. But if you know where you're going and why you're going there, then that in and of itself should create the desire and the motivation to get the job done.
Absolutely. That is beautiful. I thank you for sharing this with us. I thank you for sharing your time, your knowledge with us. Obviously, as we start to see a shift in market here, your message is so timely, and all we need to do is show our database love.
That's it. Actually, I would argue that the only calls you need to make are calls to people you know and ask how they're doing. Like, I don't think you need to sell them anything. If you just ask, how are you doing? And you are genuine and you truly care about them, then the business will come. Because people want to do business with people they know, like, trust, and know, care about them. And so if all you did was 4 times a year, call that person and just say, hey, I was thinking about you, wanted to check in. By the way, is there anything I can do to help you in the real estate world? That you will get all the business you need doing that.
That is beautiful. It's powerful. James, truly appreciate you. Look forward to having you on again so that you can be a frequent flyer.
And I'm waiting for Wayne to invite me to go see the Rays and the Jays. All right, we got to get that done, Gary. Can you make that happen?
Yeah, I saw the comments. He's already bought tickets. So
oh, good. Well, then I'm on my way. So I'm coming
anytime.
on. Actually, I'm coming to Canada. That's why I know all the stuff to get into Canada, because we're cruising. We're going to Alaska out of Vancouver. So I had to do all of these things. And it's quite fascinating right now to get out of the United States and into Canada. So we'll make it happen eventually.
Awesome. James, as Colin said, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for your insight. And my friends, he just gave us an action plan for the rest of the year. Let's go do it, right?
Thank you guys for having me. Appreciate you.
Thank you, James.
Very good. All right, my friend Colin, let's move on. James has always got awesome stuff to talk about. And I know we're going to digest some of that info throughout the call here. And it's fantastic. Very good. Very good. Let's celebrate this, my friend. This is right across Canada. Huge congrats to Kirby for being number 5, Vincent for being 19. I got those numbers mixed up there, but that's okay. Michael Dinner for being 17, and Michael Tuff for 24 in all of Canada for GCI. I'm sorry, my friends. This is for GCI in the month of February. I'll make sure that gets fixed before we send it out. So congrats to everyone there. Very, very good. Let's bring on our friend Stevie Susie, and it's always fun to have Stevie come on here. I just saw somebody move out of the shot, Stevie. That's good.
I've got special guest Andrew Bolton with me, hiding.
There you go. There you go, Stevie. Why don't you take us away? And I know you and Colin are going to talk about a little bit about what's happening with your role as it stands, and how you're serving us as a brokerage, and more importantly, our agents.
Thank you, Gear. And as everyone knows, Stevie's our alternate team leader. And Stevie's role in the brokerage is to help support our brokerage and agent growth, but most importantly, to support our agent in their business and to help them grow their business. And that is why, we have this leverage series as part of our leverage series to every month, just to show you how we can support you in your business. So take it away, Stevie.
Yeah, so we keep introducing when I come on and talk here as the leverage series, but honestly, at this point, I think I'm just like saying something that's on my mind. It's not, I don't know if this is necessarily leverage, but what I actually wanted to talk about today is I just actually wanted to talk a little bit about change. So one thing that we know for sure in the real estate industry is people come and go, right? Like people are constantly coming and going. And whether that is within like agents coming and going on teams, within a brokerage, even leadership, it kind of seems like there's always opportunity popping up everywhere. And in many cases that is true. But I think something that we tend to do just naturally as human beings is we really tend to think that the grass is going to be greener on the other side, right? Like we always think that. We kind of think like, oh, if I went there, I'd make more money, or if I just had this, my business would be better, or whatever it is. But in reality, we know that like truly the grass is green where we water it. And so I've been thinking about this, and I just wanted to say, like at Keller Williams, we have so many resources and really just great people here. And, that is up to you to tap into though. Those resources and everything that we offer, like that is up to you to tap into that and utilize those resources. And it's no secret also that we're a very large brokerage, right? That's one of the great things about us. It's why we do so well and have so much market share in a lot of areas. But it's really, really difficult. I think we can all agree to talk to 233 agents on a daily or even a weekly basis. And that doesn't mean though that you're forgotten about. It's why we do social events. It's why we do things like that. We had a social event around Christmas time. We just had our St. Paddy's Day social event. We're getting back to in-person trainings, like all that kind of stuff we do on purpose because it helps keep us all connected. But we can't make you show up to those events, right? Like, again, that's on you. So I guess what I really just wanted to say is that if you're ever feeling any type of concern, or you're just feeling, any type of way, good, bad, or ugly, whatever it is, please just come and talk to us. Come and talk to us. We are always looking for ways that we can improve your experience with us, truly. And, before letting one of our other competitors get in your head or anything like that, just please come and talk to us. So that was kind of just what I wanted to share. We're aware we have a lot of change that has happened to KWRC in the last little bit. We're continuing to see change, which honestly is really exciting. There's a lot of great stuff to come from, evolving. But I just wanted you guys to know that if you're ever feeling any type of concern, please come and talk to me about it. And yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say.
Colin, I think she had the quote of the day so far. The grass is always green where you water
it. Yes, I made note of that. So it's no longer leverage series. It's what is on Stevie's mind today.
Yes. Let Stevie feeling this month. Yes. Yeah.
And thank you for sharing that, Stevie, because like you're saying, as a brokerage, we are doing a lot, and we also want to connect and reconnect with our agent partners. and we want to grow together. So give us your ideas of, share your ideas with us. Let us know how you're feeling. If there's anything we can do personally to help you, know you have a team of leaders here to support you and to grow your business. And that's our number one job.
100%. The other thing that I would just say on that note too is that, like, again, with growth doesn't mean that like anybody gets left behind. Like nobody's getting forgotten about at all. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. There's no coincidence in, again, looking around at our top producers within the brokerage. They are involved. They come to social events. They're involved in things. They're involved with, trainings. They help out. They do all that kind of stuff. And keeping yourself involved and connected will help your business. So again, though, that is on you. So I just wanted to, just bring that to the forefront.
Very good. Thank you, Stevie. Good pep talk. I love it. Yeah, be involved. And we see it over and over again. Be involved and your business will grow. Very good. Thanks, Stevie.
Thanks, Stevie.
Very good. All right, my friend. Well, before we bring our good friend Dylan on screen, we're going to talk a little bit about Ignite. And Dylan reached out to a few of the recent Ignite grads, and they sent in their experience through video. So let's watch these three young ladies and express their experience on Ignite.
I would recommend for any agent to take Ignite, especially newer agents. I'm a new agent myself, and I took Ignite when it was being held back in January. And it gave me so much insight into the industry and gave me sort of a roadmap to work with so I could figure out how I wanted to run my business effectively so I could achieve results. It taught me the importance of routine, reaching out, asking for help, connecting with others, and actively promoting myself and my business. So I would recommend it to anyone that was thinking of joining.
For me, Ignite was a complete game changer. It really helped me implement accountability and structure into my business so that I could prioritize the things that I needed to, and it gave me that guidance so I could feel confident in front of clients. I highly recommend Ignite to anyone just starting out in the business or anyone that needs a little push in their business.
So my experience with Ignite really was eye-opening. I'm a fairly new agent, and coming into the brokerage, not knowing anyone, not really knowing much about real estate, Ignite really helped shape my career and put a plan in place for what I wanted my business to look like. I learned more in my 4 weeks at Ignite than I did most of my time in real estate school, because it's a conversation and you're learning from agents who have, worked all over the world in other countries, other provinces, down in the States, and everyone does things differently. So it's nice to have, professional conversations about what things look like for everyone and how it's different. Ignite is fantastic because it really does set, the bare minimum standards for what you should be doing in a day, and it keeps you accountable. If you're in the habit of doing this, routine every day for 4 weeks, then, when we finish Ignite, you should be out doing those same things every day. And it's just a great path to set you up for success. So I'm truly grateful for everyone who put on Ignite because it really helped, put things into perspective for me. And I can't wait to take Ignite again.
Very good. Ladies, thank you for sharing. And Dylan, I'm going to hand it over to you, my friend. I don't know if you can say it any better than those three ladies.
No, I definitely can't. I mean, I could talk about Bold and Ignite all day. Hearing it from those three ladies, I think is the best way for anybody to take it in. And I think that the three of them are going to be future leaders in our office for sure. So I want to thank them for stepping up and doing the video. And ultimately, I can definitely talk about both Ignite and Bold here today, and because they're both amazing training programs. And one of the myths I kind of want to dispel has already been touched on a little bit, is that Ignite isn't just for new agents. The reason why Ignite gets perceived that way is because it's the full package. It gives you, from the start to the end, a full look at the fundamentals of what your business should look like. So sometimes people think of that as like, oh, it's for newbies. But it's really not the case. Just the same way that Bold isn't just for advanced people, or you take it the one time and you learn. You know, the one thing I love about whenever Bold comes up is the first question that comes out of somebody's mouth is, hey, Colin, how many times have you taken Bold?
Yes, yes.
Right. And you know why he's taken it that many times? Not because he's a slow learner, right? Wayne's not a slow learner because he's taken it so many times. The reason why our top producers take these courses over and over again is because the training is only a fraction of what these programs offer you. What they really offer is the accountability and the fundamentals of what are the actions that I have to take in my business every day. You know, let's look at the daily activities that we look at. It's how many people did I talk to today? How many of them did I add to my database? Am I building a relationship with them? And am I staying on top of what's going on in the market? That's the 4 tasks that you have to do every day in Ignite and Bold. Full stop. The rest is a bonus. If you just do that stuff, you're on par. And the one thing, again, the reason why people take it over and over again is because it's so much easier to be accountable to others than it is to yourself, right? I know that I need to lead generate every day, but when I'm in Bold, I don't make any excuses because Bold doesn't let me make excuses, just like Ignite doesn't. I have to call out at the end of the week, how did I hit my numbers, right? And so when we're not in those programs, we can hide, right? But when we're there, we find a way, we get rid of the excuses and we make sure that we do it. And so again, going back to why people take it over and over again is Colin when he's in that class, Wayne when he's in that class, me when I'm in those classes, I know that my business is going to get a boost because I'm not going to let any excuses slide in. That's the big one on why you need to take these courses over and over again. And in my opinion, it doesn't matter which one you take. You could take Ignite or you could take Bold. Both are going to benefit you right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well said, Dylan, especially with the theme of today's team meeting with, us starting to experience some market shift. Now is a great time to get into those daily habits that are going to, as we learned earlier, not double, but triple down on our daily activities. So it's right here in front of us. It's almost on a silver platter.
100%. And I could talk about it all day, but I'm going to be real short and sweet. I've said enough and I've got a little bit more to say, but then I'll be out of here. I must have got the memo that we were reading Shift this week because James was coming on. So I was looking through it this morning, and the thing that stood out to me, and the reason why I highlighted this one is because I think you guys have noticed this as well. We've seen it in our agent chats. People are noticing the change in the market. So let me read you this one real quick. Fewer leads, fewer showings, an increased days on market. The minute these signs show up, take notice, don't ignore them, and don't wait to act. So the question I'll leave everybody with today is, what are you doing? What action are you going to take in your business so that if we do see a shift, big or small, that you aren't the one that gets left behind as we see our unit sales drop off?
And
my friend,
flip side of that, even if we don't see a shift, your business is still way ahead. So it's a win-win.
Exactly. It comes back to, it's about the actions that bring the results. That's why whenever you're in one of these classes, they tell you, okay, give me your goal. Now double it. Now triple it. It's not because we expect you to hit that triple goal, though we want you to, because it's going to let you lead a big life. It's because the actions you take to hit that goal that's twice or 3 times as big as the one that you set will make sure that you hit your goal, because it's about the actions that you're taking.
What I would like to do before we move on there is just read something I highlighted on page 24. You can't control the market, but you can control your outlook and your response to the market.
I saw that same one. I'm so glad that you mentioned it.
So that was the second one you had highlighted that I wanted to highlight for you there. Yeah. So that's just powerful. Thank you so much, dear.
And again, before I go, you've got amazing trainers in our brokerage that are stepping up to teach this amazing course. They're all top producers in the brokerage. They're going to teach you a course that's already got amazing content, whether it's in Bold or in Ignite. But what I promise you is that you're going to get a nugget from 1, 2, or 3 of these trainers that's going to make a difference in how you approach your business, whether it's mindset or saying one thing differently that helps you convert in a situation where you previously hadn't been able to.
Very good, Dylan. Again, thank you for your leadership in this. And we're looking forward to connecting you with an Ignite and of course in Bold. So sign up. As Wayne said, sign up. Everybody should be signing up and everybody should be reading Shift. All right, my friends. Thanks, Dylan. Appreciate everything you're doing here.
Very welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Very good. Very good. Well, that leads us to our roundtable. I know, our timing is a little bit off this morning, but that's okay. This is fantastic stuff. And we've got three amazing agents that are leaders, not only within our brokerage, but in their communities and with their clients. So Vincent, Wayne, and Adam, I'm going to bring you guys on screen for the moment. And we're going to talk about what's going on. Wayne, how are you? Adam, there you are. And, on the roadside attraction, Vincent Bungard. You're muted, by the way. I'll just give you that heads up there, Vincent. But
thank you.
I love it. I love it. No rest for the wicked. And Vincent,
Vincent's in between doors right now.
I just stopped.
Oh boy.
Very good. Very good. I want to make sure, for the majority of our brokers, we'll call it like it is. We're in the York Region area. And for those that may not know Adam, he's out in Wyerton with the Terry Hastings group. Adam, how are you today? I'm happy to have you on the call this morning.
Oh, I'm doing really good today, and I'm excited to be here. Yeah, so I'm in Wyerton. I didn't make the drive all the way up to Tobermory today, so yeah.
Very good, very good. Okay, so the theme, as we've seen, is perhaps we're starting to sense that market shift, and we want to be a group of realtors that isn't reactionary. We want to take some action and be proactive. So Wayne, I'm going to throw it to you first. What's the conversation you're having right now with clients that are thinking about listing their home? Give me that 30-second conversation, if you will. Just kind of the touch on the points that you're having with the highlights that you're having with those kind of clients.
Well, the first thing I'm spending a lot of time with is asking all the questions to build the trust. So I ask a lot of questions up front before we even get into market stuff. I get to know them, their motivation, and build that trust piece, because I think once you've established that trust piece with your clients, the pricing and all that stuff becomes a lot easier, because now they trust you. So, and then you just come at them with the numbers. There's a lot of data to support that. Our showings are down. If you just show them Broker Bay, show them the number of showings that are happening in the area, the number of offers that are now coming in on properties, and just, educate them on all that stuff, and just, build their trust, and then hit them with the data and sit back.
Yeah. Vincent, for your listings over the last couple of weeks, are you finding yourself having to, talk to your clients more than you were, say, 3-4 months ago, with, not to say you're hand holding them, but just to kind of keep them abreast of what's happening in the market with showings, that showings number coming down a little bit? What does that conversation look like?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's important to have that conversation. And Wayne made a good point by, if they trust you, it's an easier conversation to have. I think there's two ways. There's two situations. One is like, you've built that trust over years, and you can really have that conversation with them and show them the number, and they believe you, and they trust you and do what's probably right to do right now. If you're one of 3 agents being interviewed, and I'm not going to sugarcoat that, it's a tough situation right now, because I just lost a listing yesterday, and I told them, I'm thinking in this market the house is worth $1.2 million, $1.3 million, and they said, how come? There's townhouses selling here in Newmarket for $1.3 million. And I said, that was in February, and things have changed. It's like, what do you mean? It's 4 weeks ago. I said, look, I know you don't like that, but I'm just telling you, I don't want you to lose money, but I believe that's what we can get in this market. So I lost the listing because there's another agent that told them it's worth 1.5. But that's okay, because I'd rather not get these listings, to be honest. I've been through that in 2017, where I had probably 4 listings that all didn't sell. And at the end of the day, I lost money on those and wasted time. So it's more important than ever now to really align with the sellers. And two months ago, you could throw anything on the market, it would have sold. Now, be considerate with what you're listing, and not every listing is worth taking.
Well said, Vincent. Yeah, well said. Adam, similar question to you, and I know your market might be slightly different than what we experience here. Are you talking to your clients with similar instructions that, hey, our market is slowing down a little bit. You perhaps are going to get less showings than what we were seeing. What's that conversation look like for you, Adam?
Yeah, I think it certainly is. So we're definitely down on showings. There was a property where I held listings on it. There was 25 showings, through the week, and they got one offer on it. So, using that as an example for other people. Like, we don't have a crystal ball here, but we're starting to see change. Is it going to pick up again, or what's going to happen? But making sure that, you talk to sellers, listen to them. I always allow them to pick their number that they're listing at, but sort of help guide them that if you go too high, people may not come and look. And if this market, continues to change, then you're going to be in a situation where you don't want to be, where you're constantly lowering that price, trying to catch it.
I love that strategy. And I might have learned that many years ago from Colin and Wayne, perhaps, that almost that self-discovery piece of what that listing price and offer price should be. It's important. I'm seeing in the comments here, Stephanie Sylvie says, it's so important to align with the sellers. And I'd love to ask, it's easy for us to say that. Yeah, just make sure you're aligned and you're good. Okay, hang on. Let's peel the onion away a little bit here, fellas. How do we do that? So Adam, what are we talking, or what's that conversation look like to build that trust? Like, how are we doing that? How are we aligning and building trust with clients?
Yeah, so I think I'll give an example of a listing that I didn't get recently, and I was in competition, and another agent in the office said, "What do? Do you just show up?" Because typically I don't take much stuff with me. I just show up and listen to them and everything. And I thought for this one, no, I'm going to try a different strategy. I'm going to take all our marketing material and just throw it at them and say, we can get the most for your property and everything. And I asked, him after why I didn't get the listing. And I didn't do my usual listening skills. And it turns out the other agent was able to discover that it was an estate sale. He hasn't gone through the process before. And really, he needed to feel that someone was there to help navigate him through the process. And I learned my lesson, and I'll save on the photocopy machine from now on. So, yeah.
Adam and Wayne, you might agree with us as I kind of hand it over to you. Adam, you might have just asked the best question. That follow-up one of why I didn't get the listing. Because you'll never make that mistake again, right?
Yeah, no, that's so true. And it's true that everybody says to ask that question. And I hadn't a lot of times, but moving forward with that response, I certainly will, because it really brings you back to how can you improve your business moving forward. And if you don't know why you didn't get, the listing, then how are you going to improve the next time? And it always benefits your sellers, your buyers that you're working with moving forward.
Brilliant. Thanks for sharing that out. That's brilliant. Wayne, talk to us. Let's kind of shift a little bit, pardon the word, to the buying side of the transaction. What conversations are you having with your buyers at this moment?
Oh, well, this sort of the similar conversations I'm having with my sellers. I'm just coming to them with what we're seeing in the market. And because a lot of people have been burned and have sat out and are exhausted. And so I'm starting those conversations with them like, hey guys, we might be seeing a little bit of a light here. Now, I don't know if we've seen a significant drop in prices yet, but certainly the leading indicators just in terms of showings and offers it's like, hey, this might not be a bad time for you guys to get active again, because they're used to being in, I don't know, 9, 10, 15, 20 offers, right? Now it's a chance like you might be up against maybe one or two or maybe none at all. So let's get your pre-approval back in place if it's expired, because it may have expired, if they've been sitting out long enough. So let's get that done again, and let's get active again, because this might be an opportune time to jump in.
That's well said. Vincent, you and I were kind of throwing up some messages the other day about the market coming up and going down and so forth in one of the WhatsApp groups. And I think it's important, Vincent, too, I could have thrown out a stat on my social page and say, hey, the market's down 6% in Markham from last month. But that's not necessarily true. How are you talking to your clients and educating your clients? Because really from, the fall and so forth, we've had a pretty good run up. And just because it's 1 month down, that doesn't mean like everything's going sideways or anything like that. Like values, it hasn't come down from the values from like November or so forth. Like how are we educating our clients there? Are we just showing them and having the conversation, or what are you doing there?
Well, value is a good point, because I tell them, I say, look, we might miss the peak. The peak was mid to end February. but your house is still, if we price it right and do the right thing, it's still going to sell for $200,000 to $300,000 more than what it would have sold 6 months ago. And that kind of like gives them a reality check. And they're like, wow, yeah, okay, well, my house might not be worth 1.5 anymore, but if I can sell it for 1.3, that's still significantly higher than a few months ago. Then I think the other conversation we need to have is inventory. In Newmarket, there were 25 to 30 constantly active listings in January. Now we're about 140 to almost 150. So that is 4 or 5 times the inventory, I believe. We have to just show them that, and we have to show them that there are many houses not selling. In January, 100% of the homes were selling. I think now it's probably, I haven't really looked into the stats and details, but I remember in 2017 when we were saying, look, one out of 4 homes is selling, 3 are not selling. Do you want to be the one that's selling, or you want to be one of the 3 that's not selling? You want to sell, then this is what we have to do. And that's when it comes to alignment. If they agree, and then we can get it done. But if they're unrealistic, then it might not be worth to really working with those people.
What I'm hearing there as well, Vince, is, and it seems like Wayne and Adam, you guys are all doing the same thing, is where you're pricing ahead of the market.
Right. Yeah.
Right. You're looking to see, this is the direction in which the market is going. We're going to price here. The market was here 3 weeks ago. And the last thing you want to do is price here, and then every 2 weeks now start having that reduction, because now you'll be chasing the market. And as agents who, because obviously with COVID and we weren't necessarily as connected as a group, an individual agent could be working somewhere not within close proximity to our office, or also have a lot of connection with agents in our office. And they might be thinking, I can't get this one home sale sold. And they're worrying, what is wrong with me? But this is what we're seeing in the market. And that is why we're bringing these conversation here, to let you know the market is we're starting to see a slight change. So what we're going to do as leaders is bring this conversation to you, so you're aware of where the market is trending.
It's so true, Colin. I'd love to just wrap up on this last comment or question, and perhaps get your comments on this, Wayne. And I wanted to kind of go back to what James Shaw said, and just to provide some clarity to it. He mentioned, in the Toronto area, we went from 40,000 showings down to 16,000 showings. Yes, we have definitely seen a reduction in showings, but let's be mindful of the time of year that we're in. This is the first week, that week that he's referring to was the first March break we've had with not a lot of COVID restrictions. I went away. Many people went away. Wayne, did you kind of see the same thing, get the same feel there?
So I saw it. I had a townhouse in North York for sale that should have been, they should have been climbing over each other to get into. And that was in February. So we only had 15 showings, and we took a bully and we sold it right where I thought the value was. But I saw that a little bit ahead of March break. And if you go back and look into Broker Bay, it was the 3rd week of February where you start to see that just start to fall off the table. So it was a while back before that. But yeah, I think March break that was legit. They had 85,000 people through Pearson that day, which was the biggest number in a couple of years. So yeah, I think there was some legitimacy to that. But I just think, there's just fewer people getting out to see homes. There's more stuff on market now. So I don't think I'm holding any more on stuff. I think from here on out, I've got enough data to figure out what a house is worth. I'm going to be pricing it, right where I think it's worth, and away we go.
And this is, as realtors, as listing agents, as buying agents, this is a market that we love much better than the aggressiveness of having to hold offers and so forth, right? More of a balanced market, and it'll be interesting over the next couple of weeks as inventories creep up, like they do this time every year. That's not going to change, right? And I think it's important, just as Vincent, Adam, and Wayne here have said, yes, be in alignment, but how do we do that? By talking to them, and to Adam's point, by asking and listening. And I appreciate you three being on with us. I know that our agents appreciate it tremendously, and we're going to keep doing this because this is great insight into people's businesses and what they're doing. So, fellas, thanks for your leadership here, and I wish you all the best over the next several weeks with your clients. And thank you.
Thank you.
That was powerful, guys. Thank you.
Very, very good. Okay, where are we headed now? We have, this is good, Colin. We talked about a free gift. We talked about the book shift. What can people do? Scan this, use that URL code. I'll put it into the notes here in just a minute. Colin got us the PDF version of Shift. So go buy the book. We have them in our office, but also download it as well. So you can have it on your phone. You're sitting there flipping through it. Do that. So I'll give you a moment to take a picture of that or what have you. Colin, you've had this book. You read from this book earlier, and it's a great book for us to understand what happens during market shifts.
Absolutely, and this is a book. It's one of those books where you can keep coming back to it, right? Because we're not saying the market is crashing in any way. We're certainly not saying that. We're seeing a shift in the market, a slight change. So how, as agents, as business owners, we prepare for this? And it was also said earlier, we need to do triple the work now to even get the same results, right? So if that is what we're doing and that's where we see the market is going, let's start reaching out to our database and making those care calls. How are you doing? How's the family? How's work?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, like Wayne said, shift is never outdated.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, moving on. This is really cool. We said we had a couple of neat stats and surprises along the way. And back in, what am I saying? In January, we celebrated the top agents. Now I'm noticing right now, I have this labeled wrong and I'm going to correct it, but this is cool. As a brokerage, we are number one in Aurora for condo sales. Those are for brokerages located in Aurora. So I have this incorrect. I will correct it. The correct stat is closed units for the month, year to date, which is really amazing.
So what does that really mean, Gary? If we can just go back a bit. You're saying KWRC, we're number one in terms of condo sales. What does that really mean?
Condo sales in the city, we'll call it the city of Aurora, year to date. No one sells more condos or buys more condos than we do. So that is a great stat to work with. And especially if you are going up against and looking to get a listing for a condo. So absolutely fantastic. Here's a good friend that we know. That's not Colin Campbell on screen. That's our good friend, Andre Chin, one of our favorites. He's been to our brokers many times before to train over the years. He's one of the few, there's might be only about 7 or 8
faculty trainers.
KW faculty trainers in Canada, and Andre's out of the Kitchener area. He will be hosting a Zoom Win with Sellers, and this is one of my favorite sessions that he does. If you want to learn what you need to say to a seller, this is the one. If you, like Adam, want to learn how to ask questions and then sit back and listen, this is the session to log into with Andre. Fantastic trainer, great leader in our organization. So that's on April 12th. You can see that on the training calendar, which will be sent to you very shortly.
Yep.
Very good. Now this is cool, Colin. This is really cool. So on the Gray Bruce board. So that's where, Adam and the Terry Hastings group and the Tracy Kirstein group has been trading out in the Wyerston area and so forth in the Gray Bruce Peninsula. And I looked up some stats the other day, and in the entire board, Terry Hastings' team is number 1 and Tracy's team is number 4 on the entire board. That's a huge success for you guys out there. Congratulations to everyone involved. That is fantastic. Well done. Well done. And I'm going to queue up Charity as we're ready to talk about what's going on in the mortgage world. And Charity, I'm going to welcome you to our stream here. How are you today?
I'm great, Gary. How are you?
Very, very good. So as we've been talking, there's been a little shift to the market to the real estate side of things. Talk to us a little bit about what's going on in the mortgage world, especially over the last couple of days with some of those fixed rates, those increasing and so forth. But what are you seeing in the mortgage world?
Yeah, so as you said, the fixed rates have taken a significant rise over the last couple weeks. We are getting notifications almost daily as it's continuing to bump, 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 bump. Our fixed rates, between our fixed and our variable rate, there's almost a 2% spread now in what's available for your variables. We still have variables that are coming in, around 1.5%, where our lowest fixed are, just under 4. So, they used to be in the summer, they were kind of toe to toe and offering very closely to each other. And now the spread is just so far apart.
Right. And it not that it should be a surprise, but perhaps it does come as a surprise because we're just not used to seeing rates at that level over the last couple of years. But long term, we have seen rates at those types of levels. And what's the feedback that you're getting from some of your clients? Is it one of surprise, or just like we do it for our clients, we're trying to educate them along the way and so forth? What's the reaction there?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? It was a little bit shocking to people. And of course, a lot of people in the variable products, even though the discounts are low, we're getting a lot of inquiries about people that are wanting to lock into the fixed rates, even though they are a little bit higher, still knowing that historically, even rates being, mid to high threes, that's still a low interest rate. Again, depending on the person's preference or what the purpose of their property is for, we're also educating people in terms of the variable that, yes, that's expected to rise too. There's talks that it's possibly going to rise another 4 times by the end of this year. However, taking into consideration rises at about 1/4 point, that's still significantly less. So it's really about educating each buyer on how each rate works for them and what is most important to them, whether it be the security of their payments being set in standard or taking advantage of savings in the market with the real estate rates being so low and actually following the trend of the rise of the variable and then locking in if and when that time may be parallel to what it is today.
That's great insight. Charity, another thing, and I know when rates go really, really low, the banks start offering different types of products because they're trying to, stand apart from the crowd. Come borrow from us. When rates go up like that, do they jockey for the same thing and offer different types of products to clients?
They do. So they do offer different types of promotions and different things to kind of help, settle into the new changes. Again, we also have different lenders that when this happens, we get, an email at night where they're offering a significant discount that's really lower than other people's offerings because they're trying to get a really big book of business and take advantage of, while everyone else is increasing, they kind of decrease and scoop in and try to get a significant amount of business, which is really helpful for us because suddenly we can offer these lower rates that aren't what people are hearing in the news, and they are much lower. And again, it's a win-win for the client, for us as brokers, and as well as the lenders.
Okay. I don't know if what you guys caught on to that and heard that, but here's what I just heard, Charity. This is incredibly important and one of the number one reasons why you need to be working with a top mortgage broker like Charity and her group, because in the news, we see the headlines like, oh yeah, interest rates, I'm going to be paying about 4%, 5%. And Charity just explained to us, well, that's not always the case, right?
That's right.
Work with a great mortgage broker like Charity so she can go fight for you and look for opportunities that are going to benefit you. And quite often, Charity, and I still hear it from all the time, even in today's market. Yeah, I just went to my bank to go get a mortgage. Well, that's okay sometimes, but talk to Charity first, right?
Well, and the thing is, Gary, is that we broker for the banks too, right? So if you want a bank product, we most certainly have them and we can show you what the banks are offering you and then show you a comparable of it's not a bank, but it's a very similar product. And a lot of times it's a better product.
Yeah. I love that. Better product. And yeah, allow Charity and her team to go to bat for your clients. And even as James was talking about earlier, maybe they're not looking at selling now or in the near future, but as rates are going up, it might be a good time, right, Charity, to remortgage before rates start getting higher and higher. Am I right?
Yes. Absolutely. And we are doing a lot of that and also even refinancing to buy the next property too. Because again, even with the rates, with the variable product, if we teach them how to follow it, where we can dip in and get a lot of equity to help them secure more real estate.
Yeah, fantastic. Fantastic. So please reach out to Charity and her team. They have been a tremendous resource for us, with the experience that they have. And you're a huge, huge supporter of our brokerage. So from me to you, and I'm speaking for Colin as well, thank you, Charity, for how you continue to step up every time. We appreciate you and your team, and we wish you all the best. So reach out to Charity, my friends.
Charity and Haley, again, thank you. Amazing job there. And what I like about that there, Gary, that is being said, it's having the conversation. Because as professional real estate agent, let's leverage our relationship we have with mortgage brokers as find out what is the news, what is the new update, and share that information with our clients, share that information with our database, people who are considering buying or selling. So great information again, as always. You guys do a fantastic job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very, very good. Okay, Colin, we've got a lot to go through in just a few minutes here. So let's do this. We're going to do some top agent awards and congratulate a few people along the way. And tomorrow night is a big night, my friends. It is our awards gala in person. I know the invites have gone out, and I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to seeing everybody and having a good time and creating that community again, my friend.
Yes.
Congratulations to these people for capping in the last month. Kirby, Austin, Wayne, Emily, and Adam. Congrats to you. That is huge, huge news. And we wish you continued success throughout the year. We are also celebrating first listing to Michelle and closing to Anushka and Danielle. Congratulations. I love this. And so does Ted Lasso. Very good.
These are my favorite because you'll always remember your first listing, right?
Yes.
And your first closing sale.
Yeah.
And this just sets the trend as in, okay, money's coming now.
Very, very good. Okay. Wayne's got the comment of the day. I'm throwing this in here. So this is in reference to Wayne capping and no more money for Colin. Yay. Oh. Awesome. And as we know,
that is true.
When you cap, you no longer are paying the broker's split. That's what Wayne's referencing, but well said, my friend.
Well said, Wayne. Well said.
I had to pause for that. Okay, let's do this. We need a little music. Here we go. Top 10 individuals for closed units. Bree Honey, Michael Dinner, Austin Clark, Alex Campbell, Cesar Garzon, Stephanie, Kirby, Michael, Paul, and John Brock. Congratulations for the month of February for top closed units. Next is written business. And we have Leslie Proctor, Shelley Lundquist, Marion Carconi, Wayne Clements, Kirby Chan, Bua Goddard, Stephanie Sauve, Megan Waller, Tamia Dracos, and Wasim Jera. Congratulations to you, my friends. Moving into closed units for top groups, we have the Melissa Taylor team, Hair Off team, the Terzis team, Silvernagle team, Volpe Alcorn team, and the Terry Hastings team. Congratulations to you. And the written business for the month of February, Tracy Kirstein team, Booten Blaha team, the Paroff team, Campbell team, Terry Hastings team, and the Volpe Alcorn team. Congrats to you. That's the first time that we've seen the Volpe Alcorn team in number one in a long time. So congrats. It's a lot of hard work being paid off there.
Well done.
Very, very good. I flew through those because we got lots to go through. So all of those stats will be posted on our site, and you'll be able to download that. Very good. So Broker Bits, the Andrew Bolton edition. I'm going to bring Andrew on screen. Yeah, I think he's doing his hair right now. Perfect. Yep, there he is.
Yeah. How's my hair?
Yeah, it's looking good, and I love your name.
Yeah.
Stevie.
Hey, hi, it's Stevie Susi here.
Yeah.
I've been doing a little bit of a weight gain program. I think it's going well. It's affecting my hair.
It's affecting your hair. I like the height game too. It's good. It looks good on you. Very good. So Andrew, I appreciate you stepping up here and giving us the Broker Bits. I'm gonna set your screen up, but you go ahead and start us off while I'll get your slides all set up here.
Thank you. I've been, I wanted to say a couple things on what we've been hearing, and it's been awesome. There's a lot of doom and gloom around a shifting market when that is actually the opposite of what it should be. There's opportunity in shifting. I've actually hated a one-way market. When a market shifts is where you get the opportunity. Also, a hot market is not one of my value adds. So I don't care. Like if a hot market, I can't control the hot market, but I also can't control a depreciating market. So neither of those actually affect my service that I give to my clients. It has nothing to do with my success. So I don't take credit for the hot market, and I don't take credit for a depreciating market either. We help the clients navigate that market, and the level of service our team provides is always the same regardless of the market. If you've been taking the credit for, getting 20 offers and going $300,000 over ask, well, you probably shouldn't have been, because now you got to take the crap for the depreciating market. But I choose not to do that. So I don't think anyone else should. And I think you should welcome a shift. And it's just a lot of noise that gets us going, because the amount of calls I have to make in the morning and the amount of lead gen I have to do every day remains the same regardless of the market. And it should always be the same. I haven't been sitting on my laurels through a hot market, and I'm not going to sit on them through a shifting market depreciating. It's a hot market for sellers, but I don't know about you guys, but I got loads of buyers. I'm really looking forward to a hot buyer's market, really looking forward to it. Full 2.5%, none of this negotiating of my commission. It's not even a topic I have to discuss about. So I personally am looking forward to it. So I think we got to take that perception of a shifting market. Markets shift all the time, but you just keep going and do the things we do. This is where we show our value. If you this is where the training becomes important. So this is a segue into what I'm getting into here. So, I'm your friendly neighborhood compliance guy. I know it may not be the most exciting thing in every meeting, so I'm going to try and give you some value as agents. Okay, so. This is Broker Bits, the bigger edition. All right, that's what we're going to go with today. What I'm going to talk to you about is what we're going to see, especially in the shifting market. So we're really active in Barrie for buyers, for investment buyers, and everyone has a lot of equity. So you should actually have a lot of investors, or if not, you can be calling and having that care call, and then switching them into, hey, let's do an equity health check. And on top of that, how would you like to get that $1 million you're sitting on working for you and hedge the bet against this depreciating market, right? So you can do all of that with investments. And so that's why, and this is one of where we come up with our topics, to be honest, is the broker line. And as brokers, we get these questions from most of you, our agents, and this is one that continues to come up. So I'm going to try and help you navigate this by telling you actually how to get out of having a tenant in a property, and that will give you the framework to know, either on the sale or the buy side, how to actually navigate that within an APS. Okay, so if you know how the process works and some tips and what does and doesn't work, that's how you can navigate and put that into your APS. And I'm not going to get into exactly how to put that into your APS because we don't have enough time, but if you need some help with that, let me know. But you should know the process. So even if you're buying for someone and saying, okay, I'm going to instruct you to give notice, that's an N12 for purchaser's use, what are the steps? Because you, as a realtor, your value add is that you actually have to continue following on that process, even if the other agent isn't, because the other agent may not be that well versed in it, right? So what's the next slide, please, there, Gary? So you can kick a tenant out, and I don't mean that badly. You can end a tenancy for two different reasons. There are a number of reasons, but the ones we're going to go over now is landlord's own use. Okay, so that is a landlord needs to move in, a landlord's spouse, children, or parents of the landlord. Okay, so that's the small circle that is considered family. And also there's one asterisk if there's a person that provides care or services to the landlord, spouse, or child, so a healthcare worker or something like that, you can move them in. Now they have to move in for a year. Okay, we'll get into some other stipulations on this, but what's the next slide? So purchaser's own use. Okay, so that's when you're buying an investment property with tenants. They're not on a lease, and you have to give them 60 days notice. So you put in the agreement of purchase and sale, and we're going to get into that on the end, directing the sellers and the current landlords to give them the appropriate notices, okay? Which would be an N12 for purchaser's use. So it can be the purchaser's spouse, the same circle, okay? So it's direct family. It's not brothers and sisters, it's direct family or someone who's providing care, okay? And those two guys on that picture there are the coolest guys in real estate. When to serve the N12, okay? So landlord's own use. The landlord has to give it, 60 days if they're not in a lease. By the way, you can't break a lease with an N12. So you actually have to negotiate with them. There can be an N11 or purchaser's own use. Again, it's considered, we're going over the same things. The rest of this, yeah, let's go down to the next slide. So alternative approaches to end a tenancy, you can karate kick them like you could do here. That's not one that I'm recommending. So you can do an N12, which is forcing them out, or you can do an N11. So that's an agreement to end the tenancy. And this comes into play when you hear things like cash for keys, stuff like that. So I would rather not do an N12 and have a cash for keys situation. If my landlord's going to give cash for keys, so that means above and beyond like 1 month's rent, and we've seen upwards of $10,000 and $15,000 depending on the situation. I don't love it. I don't think the tenants do that, but whatever. It's something we have to deal with. So N11 is an agreement to end the tenancy. So that means that they've agreed to it. So you have to talk to them. If they refuse, you can't just kick them out unless you do have a buyer occupying or a landlord occupying. Okay, next one. So landlord, that's own use again, but here's the point I wanted to make on this slide, that if the landlord is a corporation, they cannot end the tenancy for landlord occupation. So it's something to advise your clients of. If they're buying in a corporation, they can't actually use this to clean up the investment property if they need to for whatever given reason. Okay, next one. So let's talk a little bit about the N12. So N12 is either because landlord wants to go in or the purchaser wants to go in. So next slide, please. Okay, this is really important. So when you give an N12, the tenant can actually decide to leave with 10 days notice. So let's say you give them 60 days, which is the minimum requirement, or 90 days. They can actually leave within 10. They're still owed that 1 month's rent, which is that's something that came in 2017, that anytime you're giving an N12, you owe them 1 month's rent, above and beyond first and last, okay? So they're still owed that, and they're owed the prorated rent for the time they're getting out, okay? In this case, it's likely not a bad thing, and you wouldn't be unhappy with that, but they can leave with 10 days notice, okay? Next thing. So tenants have rights, a lot of them, in my personal opinion, too many, but that's just me. Maybe because we run a property management company. But so the tenant is not obligated to respond. The tenant may terminate earlier. It goes in here with a N9, which is a tenant's notice to end the tenancy. That's about it. It just says what I went through, actually. Keep going. How can you serve the N12? So this is really, really important. The paperwork for all notices have to be filled out properly, and there are stipulations on all of them. I'm not going to get into all of them. And also the delivery of them and how and who delivers it is really important, because if you don't do it right, you may wait for your hearing, or you may wait till that tenancy, that end termination date, and they will kick it if it's not filled out properly. Okay, so to be honest, what we recommend to our clients, our property management clients, and even our clients that are just landlords on their own, is to get a paralegal's help because they know how to do it. But one thing it does say in the red at the bottom, should not be posted on the tenant's door. Pretty obvious on that one. Do not deliver this notice by email or text. It is not a proper method of service. If you deliver it that way and they fight it, the tenant board will kick it, and you will have to start the clock again. Okay, next slide. Offenses and penalties. We all know there are offenses and penalties. So if you do a landlord or a purchaser's, N12, that they have to move in for a year and they leave early, or it's in bad faith is what the term is, it's a $25,000 fine, and then costs, and any differential between the lease that they left and the one they had to get into. Now for a corporation, it's $100,000. Okay, so just things to know. Next one. Rent changes. So on this slide, the only thing I want to talk about, if paying the tenant compensation, the full amount of compensation must be paid to the tenant on or before the termination date listed on the N12 notice. If it is not paid by this deadline, the landlord risks the dismissal of their application at the landlord-tenant board and having to start the process all over again. All right. So the other point on this is you're allowed to kick them out and give them notice, you have to give them that 1 month's rent, or you can offer them another apartment owned by the same landlord that they can move to. The problem being is the language around it. It has to be agreeable to the tenant. So you can't just offer them anything. They have to agree to it. So it's kind of, again, way more in favor of the tenant. Next one. Okay, L2. I know we don't have too much time. Oh, we're at the end. So I'm going to tell you. So N12 is when you're moving in either landlord or purchaser, and L2 is what you file after you get an N12. So this is standard operating procedure for our team. Is once we get an N12 signed, that's great. You've agreed to it. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Tenant. And then we go ahead and you file for the L2. There's a little bit more cost to it. I think it's $190, but that starts the process of an eviction. So if they don't get out on that termination date, you've already started that clock, and you're fully allowed to do that. You just want to tell the tenant, listen, you're going to get notice of a hearing. Obviously, you're not going to fight it because we just agreed upon it. I'm giving you $5,000 or whatever it may be for your keys. But that's what I'm going to do here. If you do an N11, which is where the tenant and the landlord agree to end the tenancy, it is still our advice anyways to file an L1, which is the same thing. It's just, you can kick them out at the end. So you can get that sheriff in within 30 days if they don't get out, which is what we're trying to avoid on a purchase and sale agreement, is someone having to take either as a buyer on the tenants they don't want, or as a seller, they leave these tenants in there and then the deal doesn't close. Okay, next slide. Filing, you can find this out. Let's go next one. Clauses. So these are standard clauses, a little tweaked. You can either have one, or this is the way it's written, is that this is if you're representing the purchaser, that you want that tenant out, you're advising them to give the appropriate notices. I also put in there that my date for vacant possession has to be confirmed by requisition date. And if it doesn't come in by requisition date, then there's an automatic extension in this case, it's 30 days. And then after that, the buyer has the seller, but the buyer has the obligation, the opportunity, but not the obligation to cancel the agreement. Okay, so that's kind of important on that one. You don't want it to die on its own, but if they want to get out of it, you want them to be allowed to get out of it. Okay, and then the next one, where we're all hugging, it means that we're actually going to buy the property and we're going to absorb the tenants, okay, and take them on. You have the rights, you have some rights in there. You get to, ask about rent rolls. You get to view the leases. You get to get a declaration that the landlord and the tenant are not in dispute. So there are some standard operating procedures that are there to help you protect, your client and yourself. The reason this is coming up is because we're finding that a lot of investors are starting to cash in, right? And they have tenants in there, and sometimes they don't want to leave, and they know the law better than we do. So I think it's time, especially in a shifting market, to show our value by being experts in the situations that we get into. So there's a lot of things going on here. I do refer to a paralegal a lot of times, but we need to know what's going on so that we can advise and just tell them, this is where you need to go, and this is what I would suggest doing.
Andrew, thank you. Thank you, my friend. It is, I don't know many agents that are experts in this. So don't try and become that expert. And Andrew is sharing with us the importance to understand it. And as he eloquently said, use and leverage a paralegal. That's their wheelhouse, right, Andrew? Like, use that.
Yeah, they're like, you got bulldog paralegals, right? So they don't like tenants. I have one that he's not a very nice person. Bedside manner, not so great, but he's awesome at the landlord tenant board, and he hates tenants. That's the person you want representing your landlords. So I would do that. I would hire them all the time. And it's about how do we protect our clients. So from what I just said, you should be able to extrapolate and understand how to build an APS to protect whatever side you're trying to protect, the seller or the buyer, and just make sure it's all in there. Because you don't want to end up with tenants you don't want, and you can't get rid of them, and all of a sudden you're assuming these tenants in a house that you actually wanted to move into. I mean, that's worst case scenario, but it happens, right?
Very good. Well, appreciate you walking us through that. That's the bigger broker bits with Andrew Bolton. Thanks so much, Andrew. Appreciate that.
Before Andrew/Stevie gets off screen, will we be having a copy of this for the brokerage, Andrew?
Yeah. There's a PDF of these slides. I also borrowed a lot of these a time back. I made this deck from a landlord assistance sort of website, and I'll make that website known too. It's a really, really good wealth of knowledge in there. But yeah, we can. I think you might even have it already, Gary. Some PDF.
Very good. Thanks, my friend.
Thank you.
Okay, Colin, we got to fly here.
Yes, let's go.
We got lots of stuff to get through, and this is really cool. So watch out for this on April 27th. Both Colin and I were invited to be on a panel, which is being hosted at our brokerage with Sandy McKay and Lorraine Jordan, and understanding and creating multiple streams of income. You see, what we know, Colin, is agents are great at what? They're great at usually one stream of income, and you and I are quite passionate about creating multiple streams of income so we can provide differently for our family and, more importantly, for others. So look out for that. It's an evening event, and it'll be a lot of fun on April 27th. Much more information to come out on that in due time.
And just before we go there, Gare, I'm also getting a lot of requests from people who've seen what Andrew's mentioned and would even like for us to do a class around it. So stay tuned. We're going to be talking to Andrew around that, and we can schedule something. So stay tuned there.
Love it. Good call. Good call. Okay, market intel. Let's talk about what's going on in the market. This is market share for all of Toronto Real Estate Board year to date. Sold versus asked. You can see that KW is number one at 121%. So congratulations to all of Keller Williams on the Toronto Real Estate Board. That's great news. Days on market, we're sitting at about 10 days on market, which is probably in line with what you're seeing. And it'll be interesting to see how these stats change over the next month or two with offers, a reduction in offers. And market share on Toronto Real Estate Board per agent. Look at that. We are now in number one at 2.31 transactions per agent. So congrats to all of our agents. And you can see that KW is taking market share right across Toronto. Let's look local here. This is market share, Colin, for new market. This is our sold to ask at 118%, and it's right in line. You'll see, even to just get on the screen, you had to have 110%. So we're going to start to see that change a little bit. So over the next month or two, don't be surprised if that number changes as it gets closer to 100, and as agents and sellers start pricing not accordingly, but in line, aligned
in the market. Yes.
Right. So that number will come down. Combined units market share, KW is at 15.67%, good for second place, just behind Right at Home. That's tremendous. We're starting to see, what I've noticed, Colin, that number has increased month over month. So the plan is working. We are taking our market share and leveraging that. Very good. Sticking into new market, this is days on market. We're sitting at 8. So we just talked about that, what that could look like over the next several months. Moving to Aurora, sold to ask, we are number one at 115.5%, just ahead of Royal LePage. Congrats to our agents out of Aurora. And I should mention, Colin, that this is based for offices locally located within Newmarket. And of course, now we're talking in Aurora. And of course, that'll be the same for Georgina when we get up there. This is awesome. Aurora year to date, we're at 35.23% market share. This is the first time we've been in number one ever. So congrats to our agents in Aurora. And it's really interesting because the previous month, there were not a lot of solds compared to other previous months. So we're starting to see that data come in. And as that data come in, remember, the more data we have, the more accurate these numbers can get. So congrats to our agents down in Aurora. Days on market in Aurora, we're looking at basically 13.5, and that's all good news for our clients there. Moving to Georgina, sold to ask, we are number one up there. So congrats to our agents that are working that market. That's fantastic. This again is for the month of February, year to date February, and our market share. This is really interesting. So as I zoomed out, when in doubt, zoom out. And I know this number doesn't look very attractive to somebody just looking at the stats. But as I looked out, there, quite frankly, is not one market contender or player in Georgina. There were hundreds and hundreds of brokerages transacting in that area. So what if I had to read through the fuzz or peel the onion away there, Colin, there is a huge opportunity for a player in Georgina to take market share.
Absolutely.
And that player should start with KWRC, right?
Yes,
That's
yes.
us. That's the hint, my friends. This is Days on Market. We are number one. We've seen a huge swing there. I remember seeing that as high as 20 and 30 days. So a huge swing of what that looks like. So congrats to our agents in that area again. Very, very good. Okay, so that was a fast little market intel. We can spend more time on that when we have it. But Colin, this is a moment during our presentation where we're going to honor one of our favorites, Christine Tonis. And Christine, I'm going to bring you on screen. And this is kind of a fun moment for us at KW. And I'm going to start off, Colin, and then I'm going to hand it to you. And then I know we're going to hand it to Christine and so forth. But Christine, I'm not the first person to say this, and nor will I be the last, but you have helped me and my business grow exponentially. Yes, you've kept me safe and with my deals and transactions, but more importantly, you gave me the opportunity to succeed with my clients and with my team and in the different roles that I've had. And for that, I thank you. And I wish you continued success and enjoyment and rest and all the other fun things that come along with changing what you're doing. So thank you.
And what I think here, because it's almost the exact same message we're hearing from everyone, how much being in this role and Christine just really embracing this role has changed so many of our agents' lives, changed their business. And on behalf of the entire brokerage, I truly thank you for that. And I think I mentioned this in our video that we put out. We're extremely happy for you. And it would be selfish on our part to rob you of that. Everyone has a right to, after real estate, go do something big, enjoy, travel, do whatever it is on your list. And I'm sure you're still trying to figure out what is on that list. Yes, and it's going to be exciting. First off, just rest and truly enjoy it. But overall, as a brokerage, we're truly grateful for all that you've done. And even throughout this transition period, I know we're still in the process of finding the right broker of record to step into this role. We have our alternate broker of record, Andrew Bolton, who stepped up to the plate and who will also be assisting us through the transition. But it's finding the right broker of record to fill such massive shoes that you've left here. So, Christina, we're truly happy for you and all that you've done for us.
Thank you.
And Christine, before we actually do hand it over to you, we do have a couple of others that want to share their thoughts. So let's watch a couple of short videos here.
Hey, Christine, I just wanted to say thank you so much for your guidance and your help over these past few years. It's been instrumental in my success and the success of many people at this brokerage. You truly have been an inspiration, and your patience is also inspirational. But I wish you well in your future endeavors and with your new house up north. I will be seeing you there unannounced. I have brand new cottage thongs. Just, when you see me in the backyard, give me a wave or don't. It's all good. I'll just make myself at home.
Yeah, well said, Andrew Bolton. One more here.
What? Christine is leaving? Christine, you and I have been with KW for about the same amount of time. And what I love about you the most, aside from your brilliant knowledge of real estate, is your sense of humor and your razor wit. We've had the opportunity to serve on committees together and plan many meetings and events. And your question always was, will there be pie? I'm going to truly miss you. You have been an amazing business partner and mentor and friend and the best broker record we've ever had. No offense to all the broker records that preceded you. And yeah, I'm going to miss you. So I wish you an amazing retirement full of health and happiness and whatever life you want, I hope it brings to you. So, and lots and lots of pie. Happy retirement, Christine. I love you. Happy trails.
Thank you.
Very, very good.
Wow.
There you go. A couple of course, there's always humor to Wayne and Andrew, but it's fantastic. And Christine, again, I'm saying it for everybody. Thank you for everything that you've done. And I know you have a few words for us, I'm sure. So I'm going to hand it over to you.
I do. Well, if you'll indulge me just for a few minutes, because I do have some thank yous and some expressions of gratitude. You got to get, for me, this is like the Academy Awards, except with all the face slapping. So just bear with me for a minute. So, one of the first people I want to thank, of course, is my boyfriend, Peter, who is unwavering in his support for me. And I want to thank Marvin for his mentorship and trust in me. Few people know this, but Marvin actually offered me the job while I was still taking the broker course. So his trust in me was phenomenal. And of course, Colin for his vision and leadership going forward. This brokerage is in amazing hands. And Andrew for your support and friendship, of course, and all the executive and the front desk staff specifically. And I apologize if I miss anybody, but Stephanie and Heather, Gail, Marianne, Jacqueline, Gary, of course, Stevie, and Mary Fernell. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank the broker hotline, because that really shifted not only how the brokerage operated and be able to provide much wider support for everybody, it shifted how the broker record position occurred for me. So it offered me definitely more time and freedom. And I really want to encourage people to reach out and ask for help. If you're feeling a little disconnected, the broker hotline is an amazing resource. They're incredibly skilled and knowledgeable and have a whole bunch of different ways of looking at things, right? So there are ones who are much stronger maybe in strategy and others who are great at writing clauses. And so you get this wide variety of phenomenal expert advice. In fact, what few people realize is that we have the highest per capita broker designation in definitely in our region, and perhaps even in Ontario, when you look at, how many people have their broker designation against the amount of people in our brokerage. So amazing support there. And also, of course, the coaching community. You cannot do this alone. So this coaching community that holds you accountable, again, people who have volunteered their time, who are willing to help, are phenomenal. People actually really want to contribute. And one thing I would say is when you reach out and you ask for help, you actually honor the person who's helping you, because they want to contribute. They want to share something that they know, something that they can help. So reach out, ask for help, and it's there. This brokerage is in phenomenal stead. Like everything we've developed over the years is in place. The brokerage is strong. The people running it are strong and smart and skillful. You just can't get better. So I want to thank you all for your contribution to me and allowing me to have this role and to thrive and just going forward. Be steadfast, steady the ship here. Keep going and be kind. And thank you. I love you all and I'll miss you.
Very. Wow. Here we go. There. Just like this. Something like that. There. Yeah. Christine, thank you. Thank you over and over again. I know you'll have an opportunity to go through YouTube here and read all the comments, but just one after another, thanking you for everything from, being a friend and being someone that would listen. And it's funny because the lawyer that I use, I always call him the dad I never wanted. No, Gary, you can't do this, but you can do this. And Christine, take this as a compliment. You're the mom I never wanted, meaning can do this. And you gave me, with transactions and so forth, you kept us all safe and protected. And the passion that you had to see your colleagues grow is tremendous. So thank you. Thank you.
My absolute pleasure.
What I'm most excited about as well is after you've spent, 2 weeks in retirement, I'm looking forward to that call to say, okay, let's do something great now. So, I know you and we've talked about somewhat of a consultant role at some point, but before we even get into that, please go enjoy your time away, enjoy that. And then as time unfolds, we'll build something great together. And it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, Colin, I think Peter in the background said 2 weeks. Give me 2 months, 2 years. Very good. Very good. Well, my friends, that does bring us to an end of our team meeting. And I know tomorrow night at our gala, we're going to have a lot of fun and different ways to honor our agents and so forth. So we're looking forward to seeing everybody there. To everyone that participated today, thank you. Download the Shift book, get connected into our brokerage, and as Stevie asked, and make it an amazing day, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Bye for now.
Thomas, thank you.